Hi there, my name is Jack Wallen, and I'm going to do something a little different today. I've been trying to figure out a way to talk about this particular subject, and I have kind of failed that task. But I think I figured it out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to walk you through a day in the life of an artist or a creative person, whatever you want to say. Fingers crossed. Okay, so here we go. You wake up. Wake up and you hang your feet over the bed. And you sit there for a second, and you let whatever dream had kind of fade away. Or if the dream, there might have been something in the dream that inspires a creation. So you have to think, and you go, okay, what was it in that dream? What was it in that dream? And then you either remember it, and if you remember it, you just repeat it over and over again, so you don't forget it by the time you have either a pen and paper in your hand or a laptop or whatever. And you can feel it slowly disappearing, so you get desperate and you race around the house and you try to find something, you grab something, you write it down, and you breathe a sigh of relief. So the dream is still with you, and it's probably going to stick with you for a while throughout the day and remind you that it was there. And even when you're doing something important, and the dream goes, oh, remember me? And you go, oh yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden your mind just kind of latches onto it and starts rolling it around, trying to figure out what you can do with it. Well, okay, that's going to happen later, but now you're hungry, right? You got to have breakfast. So at least for me, I pour a bowl of granola, I fill it full of almond milk, and I pour some orange juice, and I sit down to read some news or whatever, check my email, and then I'm eating my cereal, and I look in my bowl, and the granola is making this shape, or the texture, or the kind of the topology or topography of the way the granola is sitting or floating in the milk inspires something, and you're not quite sure what it is. So you stare at it for a little bit, and you're like, okay, I know I've got to eat this before it gets soggy, but if I disturb this with my spoon, I'm not going to be able to decipher what that is in there. Come on, brain, figure it out. What is it? And then your muse goes, okay, I think I got it. And then you keep looking, but you're hungry and your stomach is growling, and you know that cereal's getting soggy, but you've got to figure out what that is. And then it's gone. Your hand must have shook a little bit, and the liquid that perfect image was floating in was disturbed, and now it's gone, and it's just cereal. And you sit and ponder that for a second, and then all of a sudden you're like, this is my life. This is a perfect metaphor for my creative life. It just took a tiny little vibration to wreck it all. Well, you finish your cereal before it gets soggy. You drink your orange juice, and then you put your bowl in the sink and you wash it or whatever, and then you stand there and you're like, okay, I had a dream. I still have that. I missed that thing that the universe was trying to communicate to me, but I'm sure that it's going to come back sometime today. So I just have to keep my mind open for it. Okay, great. So you can move along. So you shower, and while you're in the shower, you're all wet and sloppy with soap or shampoo. You're in the shower, water's coming down, the hot water, and it feels good. But then you come up with an idea. Another idea hits you. Your muse says, I got you right here. And you're like, I'm in the shower. I can't just jump out of the shower. Maybe I can just jump out of the shower. What? And then you're like, okay, I'll write it in the steam on my window, on the glass in my shower. So you write down this thing, and you hope that you'll remember it, or you hope that the water doesn't ruin it. And you write it down. As you're writing it, it's disappearing, and you write it again, and it's disappearing, and you write it again, and it's disappearing. And you're like, oh my God, it's another metaphor for my life. Ah. And then you get desperate. You're like, what am I going to do? You have a bar of soap and you kind of dig your fingernail in there to write down what it, and it's just making a sloppy mess, and you realize that it's hopeless, and by then the idea's gone. So you finish your shower in an absolutely disappointed, dejected way, bordering on nihilism, because you're starting to think, what's the point? What's the point of me worrying about all this and desperately trying to grasp these ideas before they slip away? Because it's and you can't even. And that's the battle you have for another hour or so. What's the point? Blah, blah, blah. Get dressed, and well, most people will go off to work. In my case, I go to my office and I start to bang out some words. So, but let's pretend that I'm not going to pretend that I'm normal, because I'm not. But let's just talk this through with a person that does have to actually go to a job. So they go to their job, right? And they're sitting in their cubicle, typing in spreadsheets all day, looking at numbers or whatever it is they do, answering phones or whatever. And they're typing along, and they're just looking at the spreadsheet and the numbers. And they just stare at it for a little bit. And then their mind starts to play tricks on them, because they squint and you start to see a little pattern in there. And you think, wait a minute, there's something in that pattern. There's a shape, or if I squint hard enough or turn my head just a little bit, I wonder if it's possible, if I write the correct numbers, it'll open up a gateway to some other dimension or world. And you're just still squinting. You're like, I can do this. There's a pattern in there. What is the pattern? And then you feel a presence while you're squinting at this spreadsheet, trying to decipher the meaning of it all. But there's this presence, and you're not sure what it is. And you're staring at them, and you get in a little closer while you're still squinting. You open your eyes a little bit, and you squint a bit more. Open your eyes, but there's still that presence. What is it? And then you hear your boss clear his throat, standing behind you the whole time, watching you lean in toward your mirror, squinting, hoping to find the shape that will open up the gateway to this magical realm, and you could see it all, and you could write about it, and it'll be a brilliant story. And middle management ruined it for you. Middle freaking management. So you deal with the manager or whoever, and you answer their questions, or you do whatever menial task it is they want you to do. And while you're doing that menial little task, you think, you can't stop. You can't help yourself, but you're thinking, there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be more to life than filling a copy machine with paper, or fixing the toner, or going to go get lunch for an office full of people. And you're driving your car and you're listening to music while you go pick up lunch for everybody in the office. And then a song comes on, a beautiful, beautiful song. It's that one song that never fails to inspire you, and it just starts to lift your spirits again. And you're like, I can get through the day because of this piece of art that's coming into my ears and making me happy. And then you reach the restaurant and you're like, oh yeah, I'm picking up lunch for people. You're like, well, okay, I got a job. I've got a day job. It pays the bills. That's fine. Because one of these days, you're standing in line at the restaurant, knowing that you're picking up food for other people, and you're thinking, one of these days, I'm not going to have to do this. One of these days, One of my stories is going to hit it big. And I'm going to never have to pick up lunch for anybody else. And you drive back to the office, and on the way back to the office, you decide you're not going to listen to music this time. You're going to listen to some news. And that's your big mistake, because the news is all bad. And then it reminds you how little people respect artists in this country. And then that little devil named nihilism jumps back on your shoulder. It's like, what's the point? You're just passing time until you die. And then you flick that little nihilistic devil off, and he pops back up, and you flick him off again. And you're like, come on. I've got important things to do. And the little nihilistic devil says, oh, you mean get the food to your fellow coworkers? Do the bidding of middle management? Is that what you mean? You're like, come on. Come on, you nihilistic little devil. Can't you cut me some slack? And that nihilistic little devil goes, there's your slack. Flick him off again. You pull up to the office, you get out, and you're carrying the bags of food into the office, and you put them on a table, and you're like, there's your lunch. Fend for yourself. Figure out whose is whose, because I don't have time to carry it to your cubicles. So you grab your lunch in a huff, and you go to your cubicle, and you're sitting down, yum, 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 yum. And middle management comes back up, taps you on the shoulder, clears their throat or whatever, and it says, why haven't you gotten that spreadsheet to me already? You were supposed to have that to me before lunch. You're like, but you, what? I'll have it to you in the next hour. Set your lunch aside. Bang, 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 bang. And there's that pattern again, squinting, leaning, hoping to find the pattern, the key to opening the door, like a lament configuration in Hellraiser, and you can open that door with that pattern, and then it's just going to suck middle management in, and you'll never have to deal with them again, and you won't have to come to this crappy day job anymore. You can just do your art. That's it. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. But that's not what happens. No matter what numbers you type, no matter how hard you squint, the pattern doesn't show, so the door doesn't open. So you finish the day at work, hoping inspiration will come, and it doesn't come. And you're on the drive home to work, you're like, I just needed one idea. Just one idea for something. I just need an idea, please. I need the greatest idea to have ever hit an artist. Please come to me now. But it doesn't. You get home and you walk into the house and you're greeted by whoever, dog, cat, spouse, child, roommate, whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And you just don't even feel like having dinner right now. Because right in this moment, the thought of food reminds you of middle management and that sandwich. So you go to your bedroom and you sit on the edge of the bed and you just sit there. And you stare. Stare out into the void. You're like, there's something there. I can feel it. The universe is trying to tell me something, but I'm not hearing it. Maybe my ears are just out of sync with the universe. But there's something going on just underneath the surface, boiling, bubbling. And I know that it's something special that is going to lift me out of this downward spiral of doubt and shame and failure. It has to happen. And you realize you've been sitting on the edge of your bed for 20 minutes thinking about that. And there's a knock on the door. Hey, What do you want for dinner? What I want for dinner? What I really, really want for dinner is a bestseller. I want to be cast in a movie. I want a script accepted, an option to happen. I want success with my art. That's what I want for dinner. I want to be able to leave that crappy day job that I hate so much and know that my art will support me and whoever else depends on me from now unto infinity. That's what I want for dinner. But you can't say that. You can't say that to whoever it was that just asked you politely what you would like for dinner. Because if you do, you're going to look like a jerk who only cares about yourself. So you say, I want Indian, whatever. Whatever you like, just get it. You hear him tromp away. Like, I can't just sit here all night. Nothing good is going to come of me just sitting here all night, because me sitting here all night is going to end up with me laying here all night, and I'm not going to have gotten anything done. The only thing that I will have accomplished today is handing in a spreadsheet to middle management. I have to create some art, because if I don't create some art, I'm going to lose what's left of my mind. But there's dinner to have. So whoever asked you what you wanted for dinner has already gone out, picked up dinner, brought it home, set it on the table or on whatever, and you're sitting in front of the television. You're watching television, munching on some kadai paneer, yum, 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 yum. And you're, whatever it is you're watching on television, you're like, oh, wait a second. That's it. That's what the universe has been trying to tell me, only in a different way. The universe tried to tell me earlier, I didn't get it, so now it put this television show in front of me to remind me that there's this idea, there's something boiling under the surface, and you've got to get it. Got to get it before it's time to go to sleep, because if you go to sleep, it's gone. It's gone forever. So you rewind it. And whoever's sitting next to you, what are you doing there? What are you doing? I have to watch this again. Why? Because there's something in there. What? It's inspiration. So you go back 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you watch it again. Yum, 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 yum. Wait, it was there. There was the flicker of a brilliant idea there, and I lost it. And you think you probably lost it because whoever's sitting next to you, nomming on their food, interrupted the process, and it's gone. I'm like, no, I gotta get it back. I've only got 3 hours before I have to go to bed. I haven't made any art. I gotta do something. So you finish your food, you turn off the TV, your person next to you is like, what? I was watching that. Well, I'm sorry. Here's the remote. Watch it all you want. I've got to go create something. They're like, okay, whatever. You do you. So you walk out of the TV room and you go into your office and you sit down in front of your laptop. You're like, okay, universe. I've been listening all day. I have been good. And I know you're trying to tell me something. So the page is there. The keyboard is ready. My fingers are primed. Tell me what it was. And then, 2 hours before bedtime, the universe says, and it was magic in your ears. And there's the idea. There's the brilliant idea. At the 11th hour, the universe provided. And before you forget it, you type down everything that the universe just told you, just in case something else interrupts you, and you forget it. So you type it. And then the internet goes out. And normally that wouldn't have been a problem, but you were typing it on a cloud like Google, and you're always trying to remind yourself to not do that anymore, to keep it local. But that's what you did, and it was a mistake. And it's and you're afraid it's going to go away, so you copy it, and then you open up your LibreOffice or whatever, and you paste it into that document. You're like, okay, I got it. And it's 30 minutes before bedtime. Like, okay, I have the idea, but I haven't written anything. Huh. I guess I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow. But at least you got the idea. And hopefully by the end of the next day, after you've come home from that miserable job and had whatever food you needed to eat, spent a little bit of time with whoever it was that was sitting next to you on the sofa, nomming on their food, and then you go off into your office and you finally get to create some art. And it's like the first time in 2 days you were able to breathe. It was like your heart finally restarts after having stopped for 2 days. And you think, I got it. This is it. And you realize, well, let's see what happens. Because, there's always that little devil on my shoulder. There's always middle management staring down over my neck, breathing down my neck and trying to... So, that's kind of what it's like being an artist, being a creative person. It's not, I exaggerate a little bit, but that's also one of the reasons why I always make time every day for creativity. And I allow myself those little dalliances with imagination. So when I'm looking at a document or whatever, and I'm squinting and I'm seeing those, I do this. I really do this. I'll be reading a book, right, and I'll see a pattern in the words, and it's like, is that a gateway to something? Really? Maybe if I squint hard enough, I'll see it. I'm not trying to say that it is not at all. Well, okay, it can be very frustrating to be an artist, especially the whole doubt and the fear of failure and the fear of imposter syndrome. All of that is very real and very hard to deal with, and sometimes the daily distractions of life that get in the way of us creating art can be frustrating. But that's kind of the thing that we agree. That's the contract we sign when we realize at an early age that we're artists. We don't really realize it at that age, but eventually at some point in our lives we come to understand that the people that aren't us, the people who aren't creative, are always going to be, they don't understand. So they could come off as a distraction all the time, but you have to fight that urge, and you have to remember that they're your friends and your loved ones and your family, and you have to give them time, because it's so easy to just get consumed. And trust me, it happens all the time. I live in my head most of the day. And I have to force myself out of my head so I can interact with people. So I can do things like this. But here's the truth. And I will go to my grave with this truth. It's worth it. The distractions and the frustrations and the heartbreak and the fear of failure and all of that, it is worth it. Because being an artist is what I know. It's what I am. And I will continue to be an artist regardless of what happens around me or in the world or the universe. I will continue until the day I take my last breath. no matter how hard middle management tries to bring me down. Thank you so very much for going with me on this little adventure. It means the world to me that you actually feel like I have something to say. Maybe I entertained you this time, I don't know. But regardless, I hope that you and everyone you know and love, including your muse, have a wonderful, wonderful day.